Yeah, it just didn't work out, unfortunately. Draft changes in game number 2. We'll certainly keep an eye on it and see if that's where we're going to go for picks and bans here in Memory of Gabe versus Monkey Madness.
And I think that they held on to that game for a large amount of time. They had a couple of really solid defenses, so I think if they can just incorporate every single one of their teammates to be a factor in the team fighting, then it's going to be good looks all around for Gabe.
Well, the Robin banned first and foremost by the guys in Memory of Gabe. Circuit and Soul banned out by Monkey Madness. I think the Circuit ban is very, very important. Cynosure really showed us what he can do, and like I said when we were bringing it up, Cynosure on the Circuit has run games by himself, so you got to be careful with that one.
Cyno had some excellent picks in that game. It's just unfortunate they couldn't really follow up too much with it because it was typically at least 1 or 2 members already dead on the side of Gabe. So even if you're able to find one with the Circuit, you can't deal with a 4v3 in the same way, especially since Circuit, it's pretty much what she does. It's that one all-in potential, and then you're just falling back.
Well, the Susano selection comes through for Monkey Madness, and that's just as scary as anything else that Monkey Madness can throw at you. Thoth and Terra will be repeated. Here we go. At least the Thoth will be Hurriwind one more time. The Thoth guy hopefully he has some help this time around.
I think things will be significantly better this time around without having to worry about that Robin constantly running at him. Susano, though, is yet another god that's still not a whole lot of fun to deal with as a mage.
That's kind of what I was saying. Whether it's Robin and Osiris or Susano and Osiris, either way, I think you're kind of in some trouble there as a mage in the mid lane. But Andy's Ra, that's what I'm excited about. And Thor is going to come out for In Memory of Gabe.
Cyno's Thor is also pretty exciting, and both of these mid-jungle compositions have a lot of wombo combo potential, so I'm really excited to see who's going to be looking. I would imagine that it's going to be Cyno looking for the engage on that Thor.
Yeah.
That's just a classic for Thor, but the counter engage by Homiefe and Andy on the raw Susano can be really, really deadly.
The Capri and the Hoyi bans coming out from In Memory of Gabe. Monkey Madness opted to ban out a Warrior in Nike and Cardanos in the Hunter. Thankfully, I won't have to listen to you saying
I just say Kern for a reason. I'm just saying. It turns into Kern after a certain point. Like, you just accept defeat in certain terms and you just move on to the next best thing.
Sort of like the pickup of Gab. You get banned out by Capri and you move on to the next best thing. Is Gab the next best thing?
For survivability, I would have to think so. And I think that for what Monkey Madness are looking for, which is just a sustain and survivability, you've got the frontlining presence with the Osiris. And I do think that CC is actually there for them because of that Susano and Geb and Medusa, but the Odin is huge.
Just a fantastic pick. Absolutely fantastic pick. A lot of people look to this god to shut down healers. Ra's a healer, but we know Andy plays it more as a straight mage. Less about the healing. Still absolutely part of the kit. That'll shut it down. But more importantly, the only person that can really get through Osiris, kind of Susano.
I don't know, because we've also seen Odin selections into very, very excellent giraffes for an Odin to just go ham on, and the Odin just gets completely destroyed.
Well,
so
listen,
it's one way or the other, and that's the risky factor about running the Odin in the soul lane, is you're either going to dominate or get dominated.
I actually, before we went in, I almost thought we were going to see Cynosure on the Odin and see some KikiSoCheeky shenanigans with the solo lane Thor.
That's a throwback, though.
That's
a throwback to OG Kiki.
Yeah, that's OG Kiki when he's hanging out with Peckies too much. But we will see Cynosure on the Thor, which is probably a little bit better, I would say.
Wait until the Arachne pick happens for Gabe, and then we know that's Kiki without a doubt.
I've been waiting. Cynosure here on the Thor, but more importantly, Kiki on the Odin, as this is really the focal point of the team. I think any pick is going to do better than the Sun Wukong last match. I'm sorry. I know it's a little bit overly critical, but it looked like a 4-on-5. It just was not effective.
I think he just had a harder time trying to... The thing, when you had Homiefe on the Robin,
nice,
and then you had fineokay on the Osiris, they had follow-up damage after they were committing, but nobody on Gabe could help Kiki with the follow-up damage aspect because Hurriwind was either dead, or Snoopy was dead, or poked out to the effect where he was practically dead.
And while I would like that change to happen mid-game, it obviously didn't. Hopefully we see that change in game number 2. Kiki has to play a little bit more defensive than offensive, and I think that that's what this Odin pick speaks to. As fineokay fights 2-on-1, no problem whatsoever.
Fun with Osiris, but Homiefe looking to join the party, see if he can maybe catch Cyno off guard here.
Yeah, he's going to get the dot, and there's 2 hits. No pull.
I was waiting for the Osiris ability to just come through and look for that last little tick of health.
Not going to be the case just yet. Still no first blood. Playing it nice and safe. But yeah, the Thor and the Osiris just knock, knock, knock. We're here on your lawn. Kiki can't even get under. Kiki can't even clear under his own tower correctly. Safely, rather. That's not a knock at Kiki. More a shout to fineokay and Homiefe's just power in this lane. And
Andy, I believe, just chose to drop his ultimate to try and secure some oracles away from from the Memory of Gabe, but unfortunately, I think that was a split down the middle.
Either way, still a good look for the Ra player. Whether he's able to secure them both or just one, it's going to deny vision the other direction as well. So Andy still making a count on that Ra, and that's the ultimate that you can throw out any day of the week. It's up in no time.
Yeah, I agree with that, but the Odin pick here and the way that we saw fineokay poking that out, Eonic getting a little testy there with Jigz. Vetium, not liking that poke out.
Vetium has the zigzags, the wiggles, and right here in the mid lane, Cynosure wishes he had him. Homiefe lays it down thanks to Andy. Big damage out of the mid lane mage. And they take down Cynosure for first blood.
Unfortunately for Cyno, just unable to get up into that ultimate in time. The windup just always feels so much longer whenever somebody's DPSing you down.
Yeah, that's certainly the truth. Andinster has his ultimate back, should he need it for the next time. But Vetium has been very impressive here in this lane. Medusa also one of the characters that I think of more so than Ram when I think Vetium. I think of Vetium as more of a team fight player than an individual guy. And watching what he did with the Ram, I mean, how he played that like a team fight player. Cynosure, oh, Andy misses, but fineokay does not. And there's a second blood going the way of MM. Same player, same team, same result. Dead jungler.
And Homie stole his speed as well. So it's like a double whammy. Not only did he just die, respawn, and just try to farm out his own jungle safely, he got invaded and killed again.
And that's good. That's good understanding of the pathing coming out from the jungler. Monkey Man has just understood. We killed him. His speed's up. That's where the jungle goes. So exactly where In Memory of Gabe goes. Nice beads. Saves the life of Snoopy. Rolls out of the area that Vetium would have been able to hit with his ult.
And I like the Geb Medusa combination in the sense it's not the same effect usually as an Athena where you have the taunt directly, but just being able to free somebody who might just be facing you and having that Medusa ultimate to follow up immediately, it's such an easy execution. And for a player like Vetium who loves that team fighting potential, I think that it's probably one of the best looks for him. I mean, Neith was a god that we saw him use time and time again, and that's all. He's also one of the few ADCs I think that I actually enjoy watching play the Neith.
Me too.
Because of how he utilizes her.
Yeah, and it's just, and that's the way that's the way he uses most hunters. But Sano goes up, fineokay knows it. It's an interesting play. Cynosure goes up, and he assumes that fineokay got the communication, leaving no chance for a miscommunication or a non-call, just having respect for his teammate to make that call that he's up in the air.
Was kind of hoping, I bet, that Cyno would be, or that fineokay would be looking to dive Kiki underneath that T1 tower.
Right.
That's a potential cleanup kill, but now at level 6 and just starting to fall even more behind Homiefe, that capitalization onto him in the early lane of the mid lane, it's just so unfortunate to fall behind early.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him so far in the Odin. Kiki digging level 8 now, however. So we'll see. Oh, Cynosure level 6.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah,
that is rough, especially as a Thor.
My point was going to be Kiki's a little bit behind as well, but hopefully he can pick up his jungler. But when you're 3 levels south, man, that becomes an extended conversation. Cynosure needs to kind of hang out with his teammates and find some safe farm. The jungle respawning in about 30 seconds or so, 45 seconds. We'll see him pick that up unless Muggy Madness really wants to step on his throat.
And there's late game presence for Gabe between the Thoth and the Ram. So if they can bide out their time and just really help Cyno safe farm, then I think he'll have a good shot at coming back into this game because of Hurriwind and Snoopy.
Hopefully. And you know, it's going to be a big part of... Jigz just walks into the Terra nonsense. No big deal, but Snoopy is really who I have my eye on here. He was the heavy lifter in game number 1. Will that work out in game number 2? Snoopy going the Devo Gloves build here on the Ram. Interesting choice. Cynosure avoiding the ultimate of the Geb just by way of the hammer. However, Geb does get the beads of the mid laner, so that's a win in some ways.
I do feel incredibly bad for Cyno there because we just spoke about safe farm, and really there's no way for him to safely farm in his own lane.
Oh, man.
Or his own jungle, I should say. And yeah, that's just one of those feels Batman moments with the Osiris.
Look at Kiki. He's just like, I'm going home. I got him. I got him under the tower. He literally walked through my ultimate. I'm just going home.
I mean, it's what we talked about. Osiris is one of the few gods on the side of MM that can naturally escape from that cage.
And because of the trip back to base, Homiefe and fineokay able to take the 7-minute tower. I guess 8-minute tower would be a little bit nicer to Kiki, but not his best day on the battlefield today. The solo laner for In Memory of Gabe not winning his lane against the rookie, fineokay.
I think what also happened here is with Cyno falling so far behind early on and Kiki being forced out of that speed buff XP as well as the blue buff XP. I mean, he can't even secure his own speed buff or blue buff, excuse me. And on top of that, Homiefe is free to just pressure that lane out. Nice
moves by Andy. But yeah, I mean, Smite's a game of ripple effects. We all know that. Cyno again. Nice beads, avoiding the ultimates out of both the mid lane and the Geb. But Smite's a game of ripple effects, and Cynosure was kind of put down, and so because Cynosure was put down, like you said, that gets extrapolated to Kiki, and he's not really able to get the farm that he needs. And unfortunately, you know, his play hasn't really stood up today either. Right now, Monkey Madness just going for the oracles.
They need one big team fight and a solid Odin ring. I think if Gabe can find that 4 or 5-man Odin ring on top of MM, then they might have a solid chance in a team fight. It's just...
The problem here is Monkey Madness...
They're not going to group for that.
They have a 3,000 gold lead without doing anything.
That's rough. I feel like I've been saying that this entire set with these two teams, and I mean, well played to MM, already getting a solid head start in game number 2.
Trying to think about what it is about Monkey Madness, and you know, they're just very powerful players. I think the right side of the map, Andy, Homiefe, and fineokay. Not to say that Jigz and Vetium are very important to this team, but Andy, Homiefe, and fineokay just drive this squad so hard, whether it's by being offensive and finding the kills or just getting out of trouble. These 3 players seem to do whatever they want every time they come into play.
Well, they also, Hurriwind and Cyno have a great comp. You do have that all-in burst potential with a Thor and a Thoth, but when it comes to the first 3 levels, which are probably some of the most important levels in Smite, a Ra and a Susano is going to outclear a Thoth and a Thor, and I think that's really where things have started falling apart a little bit for Gabe, is that they've just been struggling in those initial 3 levels to outclear MM, and because of that, it's just leaving them open to these ganks and invades.
Well, you know, if you look back historically, Homiefe and Andy, as Cynosure lands directly on Andy. Nice placement of the wall here, and Andy might fall down. He will. Hurriwind finally gets In Memory of Gabe on the board off of the assist from the jungler. Going all for it. Here comes Jigz trying to protect anything else. And Eonic gonna fall down. Vetium, nice rotation from the Hunter, gets the kill.
And fineokay, meanwhile, on the backside, preventing Kiki from running into that team fight, poking him out so much that he's just gonna have to back instead.
fineokay actually going for
the zone.
The number 9 jungler, or the level 9 jungler, I should say. Level 12. 3 levels up. He was not looking for the zone. He was looking for the kill on the jungle.
Probably could have killed him.
Yeah, he probably could have.
If Cyno isn't careful, but he still was able to effectively zone at the same time as nearly picking up a kill. And now MM securing that gold fury, giving them the first, I mean, that's a pretty solid gold lead, 5K.
They were already up 3K.
At 11.5 minutes. That's a lot for this early.
Andy and Homiefe specifically are fantastic. Go ahead.
You see that experience difference? 7K?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the individual numbers, the individual levels. But what it comes down to, do you remember what team Homiefe was on when he first broke into the pro scene?
Oh, I don't remember the name.
Denial.
That was ShadowQ's
Yep.
at first, yeah, the first project by ShadowQ.
And this is a trip down memory lane, but do you remember what Denial was known for back in the day? Early game prowess. They were very, very good.
That was the cheesy.
Yeah.
That was the.
Well, whether it was
cheesy.
whether it was cheese
I mean, we
or
call
not.
it cheesy, but it's not really cheese. It's a legitimate strategy.
Look
That's
at
what he's always say.
Battling 1v2, finds 2 players with the ultimate. This guy is the guy. This guy is the guy. Oh man, I promise I had a reason for bringing that up. My point is that Homiefe and Andy and fineokay have found themselves in this current meta where they are extraordinary early game players. And because they find wins, they find victories in those first couple of levels, 1, 2, and 3, as you noted before, that puts their team up ahead.
Oh no, Snoopy. Trying to take on Homiefe in the 1v1, but the damage from Susano is just all too much. Ultimate to quickly put him away and back to base.
14 to 12. Those are the levels. So I think what it is for Monkey Madness, trying to find it, is that Homiefe and Andy are just extraordinary early game players. And they can find these wins, you know. Like you said, Cyno and Hurriwind have a great composition. But the early game prowess that is Homiefe and Andy's picks allow them to jettison their team and find these leads. 3,000 for 2 kills. That's what you get out of that early game play.
I think Kiki might be taking a spill here as well.
Nice wall.
The wall is going to save his life. I thought Cyno was going to recommit to Homiefe for a second. When he went up in the air, I really thought he was going to think about the recommit, and I am so glad that he didn't.
13 minutes. Monkey Madness, yesterday, game number 1, I said these guys do whatever they want. They're doing whatever they want. 13-minute tier 1 tower. I mean, the solo tower's already dead.
Get picked up the red buff. If that doesn't tell you how MM are feeling about this game, I don't know what will, because I mean...
No, that's the Deathwalker build.
It's a Deathwalker build. Yeah, you really get the massive power spike from the full stacks of the Lona's mask.
Hey, man.
It's just going ham. What a beast.
Hey, it's percentage, so I wonder how much magical power Gabe actually has. CDR Boots has what, 20? Okay, there it is. 60 magical power.
I think he has negative magical power even with that red buff right now in his current build, but it doesn't even matter. His 2 at least is going to be Shrekin.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to. But MM are clearly feeling very confident.
The best emote in the game. It's the globe. Listen, if you're at home and you're not as excited as I am to see the globe, go eat rocks.
I'm here right now, and I am not as excited to see the globe.
You know what? Go eat rocks. I love the globe. I think it's so good. Why is it there? So many questions. So many questions.
No, but it's like, I don't know. It is one of the more fun emotes in the
globe.
game. I like the Vulcan Furious, personally.
Does he turn into an object that doesn't even fit the rest of the game?
I mean, Smite is life. That's all that's saying. Smite is the world.
Kuzenbo is the world.
Okay, calm down there, Barracuda.
Hey. Hey.
We do have, I mean, it's just been kind of Gabe just trying to fight away. They're just trying to roll away from MM. They're not really looking to stay in line.
I see you. You said it, and you hate that you said it. Her face, oh man, she's like, roll away. Oh no, he's gonna do it. Yeah. You know what else rolls away? The globe emote.
Rom.
Got him. No, not as good as Geb. Sorry. But imagine if they had picked Kuzenbo.
Imagine if Kepri had a gun.
Why is everybody taking it? That's a piece of original art.
I thought that was the chalk statements, but either way, I mean, this one's kind of just boiling down to Gabe really don't have much of a response to the pressure that MM were able to apply so early on. And when a Geb is able to just safely farm away, I mean, Jigz is in such a good spot right now. All he has to do is press 3 and 4 on occasion, and his team is A-okay.
Kiki, jumps towards the enemy base. He's going to be fine because fineokay actually doesn't want to engage on him. Snoopy, however, gets caught up by Jigz. Use the beads to get out of there. And he hits him with both. Gets him with the 1. Gets him with the 4. And he's done. Get out of here. Wonderful play. Andinster. Oh, my goodness. That's incredible.
I've become so used to seeing Andy make that play that I would be more surprised if he didn't.
It's just...
It's always great watching somebody so mechanically talented just do that consistently.
It's just the searing... The first ability, the slow laser beam, is so slow, and then to put it on top of the ultimate Snoopy, just... When you're up close like that, it's almost easier to juke. Oh, wow. Andy just understanding it. Nice trap by Vetium, but Kiki's gonna trap him. He's still dead. Vetium gets him with the ultimate, and Bluestone gets it done.
Oh, that's so rough for Gabe. Hurriwind barely managed to escape with his life, but it doesn't even matter because they're dying on other fronts. Kiki, who's supposed to be one of their tankier frontliners, getting completely shredded away by the lead from Vetium.
Globe.
They're looking to siege. I think they could siege the Phoenix.
I
think they Gabe were too far behind to prevent the siege.
They absolutely can. It's 11,000 gold in the lead, 18 minutes on the clock, 8 kills. MM own 7 of them. Nice wall coming out from Cynosure trying to split up the team, but unfortunately not going to do it. Cynosure very low. Homiefe gets the kill. Eonic dashes forward, rooting 3 in place. Phoenix still alive, 25%. MM have to retreat.
At least Gabe were able to hold their Phoenix, and they're not going to be losing it before the 20-minute mark. Or at least right now, it doesn't look like they will. Snoopy, however, rolling in, trying to get aggressive onto Vetium, but the Geb shield is good. Homiefe popping his Aegis, and now the fight. They're looking for the turnaround.
And the ring from Kiki's a strong one. Snoopy tried to deal with Andy. Andy's just walking at him as a Ra. That time he's going to miss. Snoopy, ooh.
But Kiki, fineokay didn't miss and was able to pick up that kill onto Kiki. And it's just...
Now, no death is good at this point, right? Those are the deaths you want your solo laner to take. Die for your hunter. Ram's in the air, Kiki goes forward, traps him in, whatever Ram does after the fact. I mean...
That was such a good Odin cage, but the rest of Gabe is just too far behind. Like, Hurriwind had to back to base. Same with Cyno. They weren't able to follow up on that ring. And so what could have potentially at least bought them a little bit of time, wiped out 2 or 3 members of MM, is just left unattended, and instead it's Kiki dying for what was honestly a pretty good play.
Well, there was a... Give it to us, Jigz. Give it to us, Jigz. Oh, it's a wave. Come on, Jigz. That's the wrong emote. The second is the global emote. I really wanted it, Jigz. I really wanted it. That was funny, though. He knocked his old friend Eonic out of the way, but there was a 10-minute stretch where we just talked about the globe emote and Kuzenbo because nothing was happening. And really, that was troublesome to me, honestly, because in Memory of Gabe had plays they could have made. I feel like mentally, Gabe is out of this one.
I think they got locked out. I think that they're inside their own heads now for sure. I wouldn't call it like a tilt factor necessarily, but having Jigz kind of just do this is, I mean, that wears at you. And I don't think that Gabe are kind of just on autopilot, it seems like.
Like I am the #1 guy that...
Oh my!
Snoopy gets smoked out by Andy from a distance off of the reactive shot under the tower. That was just unseen. That was incredible. Andy, so the other, and there's Andy getting another kill. There's Andy getting another kill. 2 with 1 ability. All right, listen. Maybe I overhyped the kill on Snoopy once upon a time over the side. You can't tell me that wasn't incredible. Globe!
Oh my. These guys, I'm kind of surprised the F6 hasn't just happened.
Me too.
I think that this is one of those games where if you know that your team isn't really responding or able to respond, and you've already kind of thrown in the towel. I would rather you just F6 in this kind of circumstance than debut holding your abilities.
I agree. When it comes down to it, Taco, I don't like to infer what's in a player's mind, right? When it comes down to builds and play and calls and itemization, that's my job. My job is to do that. I don't like to say, well, I think they're tilted here, Taco, but I think anybody can tell that right now in Memory of Gabe have thrown in the proverbial towel I don't think that they've played their best in the past 10 minutes, and that's kind of unfortunate.
I think game number 1 was actually solid attempts at defense. I think game number 2 has really just been Gabe kind of just being 5 members in a game with really no opportunities to really look for or open up for themselves. They just fell incredibly far behind. Cyno right now trying to deter them,
This
going
could be the
all
fight.
in.
This could be the
He's
fight.
already over.
Now Hurriwind looking for the kill from a distance, off of the stunt from the jungler, but Homiefe gets the better of KikiSoCheeky. 2 players down. Hurriwind, Eonic, and Snoopy ready to defend the left side. Phoenix mid already dead, as well as the right.
And with 2 members being unavailable for a Memory of Gabe, I imagine that MM are looking to just close this one out.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And you know, in Memory of Gabe, I do want to highlight that. This is not one of those situations where I'm disappointed in the players. I think Monkey Madness just had an incredible set in game number 1, came off just as hot in the first 10 minutes of game number 2, and what do? You just got beat so hard. Unfortunately, in Memory of Gabe, fall down, Monkey Madness play extraordinarily and win both games in their 2-game set.
Well, they're able to lock away 3 points for themselves. Whether the F6 came through or not, it does not matter because Monkey Madness was just solid today.
Yeah, you could say they went bananas.
Are you sure about that?
It might be, but it certainly wasn't a split.
Careful, I might ban you. Just watch out.
So, what a fun set. Interesting, going the way of Monkey Madness 2-0. Analyst desk standing by, it's Zach.
Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. Today we have Vetium on the line from Monkey Madness. How you doing today, Vet?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How does it feel to get this 2-0 victory over in Memory of Gabe?
Feels pretty good. It'll put us a lot closer to being guaranteed at making DreamHack, which I have to say I'm really happy about. I can't wait for Spain.
So tell me about, so you're heading into week number 4. How are you going to start preparing for your last 2 sets here? Because right now, you're tied with Luminosity at 10 points each. Are you worried about your chances at all?
I can't say I'm worried that much. I think our hardest competition, being Eager and Luminosity, are out of the way. I think United will give us a bit of trouble, but I think we're pretty set coming into these next few weeks.
What was the turning point for you guys? I mean, we started off this year, you know, the spring split. You guys, it took a little while for you to find your footing, but now in the summer split, you guys are looking very dominant.
Wait, can you repeat the question?
What was the turning point for you guys? You guys took a while to find your footing, you know, starting off the year in the spring split, but you finally found it. And now in the summer split, you're looking very dominant.
Yeah, I think the spring split, we needed to get used to the roster as a whole, as well as a new solo laner halfway through. So that definitely hindered us a bit. And now we've all had practice. We're all used to each other. Like at this point, we're just like having fun, being friends, and hopefully getting wins.
How much of a difference maker has fineokay been for the squad? I mean, when he came on, there was a direct uptick in you guys' play.
Yeah, it's been huge. So our previous solo laner, Benji, comparing them, they have very different play styles. I think fineokay suits us better. fineokay is extremely communicative. I think that's a word. And he's really consistent, and he's been able to learn so quickly, even though he's just been sort of thrown into the SPL. So I'm really proud of my boy.
So assuming you and Luminosity qualified to Valencia, who is the 3rd North American team joining you guys?
I think it will be United, but I mean, it can go anyway.
All right, thanks for joining us. Do you have any last shout-outs you want to give for us?
Shoutouts to my team. Shoutouts to Andy for being a sick raw. And shoutouts to you guys for having us in the SPL.
All right. Good luck with the rest of your split, Vet.
Thanks, buddy.
Let's take a look at his game. This IMOG versus in Memory of Gabe versus Monkey Madness. You know, first game was a little close. Second game, not so much.
I mean, you heard it on the interview just about the sick raw plays coming out of andinster in game number 2 there. Despite the Odin pick coming out of KikiSoCheeky, it just really wasn't enough to lock down all the members out of MM, and it was just completely controlled by Homiefe in andinster, I feel like.
as good as Andy's raw plays were, game 1, his Agni was ridiculous.
Absolutely. He was just always in the right place at the right time. I felt like that whole set, honestly, there was not enough pressure dealt onto the mid-mage out of Monkey Madness. He was just dropping bombs at his will.
He really just had control over that. I mean, this is a comfort pick for him. He plays it very well, and he just basically does what he wants, and he's safe doing it.
You know, when I hear Agni, I think of a couple players. I think of Lobster, the Boosh, Chaos, but now whenever you hear Agni, you have to include andinster into this conversation. He started to increase his god pool since making the transition from jungle to mid very cleanly.
How important is that for andinster to improve that god pool in the mid lane?
Well, considering Homiefe likes to play a lot of diverse gods as well, this makes Monkey Madness a very scary team to deal with, because not only are they all very talented mechanical players, but by expanding their god pool, you never know what they're going to throw at you.
Speaking of not knowing what they're going to throw at you, fineokay. Game number 2. Didn't have the flashiest game, but he's such a bully. You can't fight him out.
I mean, that's all he's going to do on the Osiris. I don't see you. Speaking of fineokay, you could speak of basically almost any soul laner playing this Osiris. Whenever you get such a good early game lead like fineokay did, finding a kill onto the jungler here, you shut down the momentum, and then you could just constantly invade the blue and speed, and that's exactly what this Osiris did.
fineokay plays like he's never scared. He never walks into a fight and says, like, maybe I can't do this. He walks into a 2v1 completely confident. I'm going to win this. Nobody can stop me.
I mean, listen, despite him not having the most amount of SPL experience compared to a lot of other players, he still practices beforehand with a lot of these players, so he's been around the block a couple times.
He really has. You know, he came up out of the CC scene, and he's just been making a huge impact in the SPL. Let's take a look at our first game of the day. We had Team AI versus ALG. An interesting matchup. There was question marks on both sides, you know, whether or not ALG could come back from their 2-0 loss to Noble, and whether or not Team AI could gel together, basically.
That's true. With the new additions here from Chapo and Xenotronics for AI, they felt very comfortable, but in the first game, it was Oceans here out of Allegiance that made the plays happen on this Medusa.
He's really coming into his own. He's making a name for himself. He's being consistent, and he's just destroying in these games.
The teamfight control was just so well orchestrated here. Cyclone Spin was doing work, allowing such an easy time to penetrate that backline, and Oceans just followed up every single time.
ALG has so many pieces that can have these games. I mean, everybody jokes about Weekend, you know, 667, but he can go off. Cyclone Spin, he can go off. And now Oceans, he can go off. There's just so many pieces that can go off.
And that's why Allegiance is just such a scary team, but they did split against AI, so they're sitting at that third position with 8 points, right under Luminosity and Monkey Madness.
As much as you talk about Oceans going off, you gotta look at Xenotronics. He's had a little bit of a rough time in the SPL so far, not given the best chance to succeed. He made his own chances today.
Absolutely. Filling the role of Zapman's shoes is not the easiest task, but Xenotronics is really good friends and has a similar style to Zapman. So this kind of substitute for AI was a very easy transition, at least in this set. The question is going to remain, now sitting at 5 points, can they start getting some more to close it out and get that third spot for Valencia?
You look at Xenotronics' last split on Flashpoint, he was arguably the high point for that team. He came out, he had these carry games, he did his job, and he did it well, and now he's getting the shot with, you know, formerly Eager, now Team AI. I'm interested to see if they can pull it out this late in this split.
That's true. He has played very aggressive before with Flashpoint, but honestly, the way he needs to make this transition with AI is just play around his front line a little more. Aurora and Divios, those are your two players that you just want to maintain in check, and you do your late game things later on.
Speaking of late game things, Eonic versus Noble. Two slobber knocker of games. They were both, what, 50 minutes?
50+ minute games, just absolute madness and mayhem. They're wowing that second game. The Cardinals, like, let's just show you guys what Wowie actually did in that second game. He was the reason that they won the second game.
I believe it was a soft penta. I think he kills all 5 members of the enemy team.
well, despite the penta or not, he kills 4 by himself in that Titan room, obviously with the assistance of it. Granted, with a little bit of assistance to the overhyped aggression from Panicat, really wanted to close out this game, and a nice juke of that ultimate from the Kukulkan.
This play was so hyped. He comes in, he gets the kill, then he comes in and just manages to find 4 members, and he has no health.
He gets pulled into a tornado, defending this Titan by himself, finding the reset, allows the rest of his teammates to revive and then clean up the game. You said it yourself, it was just 2 slobber knockers of a games.
I've been high on Huawei for a while now, and this is exactly why. He has this in his back pocket, and I really expect great things from him going forward.
Absolutely, and with those 2 wins, Noble are now going to get 6 points for themselves. Eunited are still going to be in that middle of the pack around 4.
And we got to look at, if we're looking at the hunt for Valencia, we got to talk about Luminosity. They played Flashpoint today and looked extremely dominant in this game.
I mean, that's what's to be expected whenever you get the best North American team on paper against the worst, honestly. Like, on paper, there's just no hope for Flashpoint right now. They have yet to get a single win this entire summer split, and there needs to be some answers towards this split and moving forward for at least the fall.
Right now, this squad of Flashpoint is in, the perpetual learning mode. They're trying to, do whatever they can well and take away things that, from these games that maybe they need to work on in the future. But you look at this, you look at Baskin and Barracuda, they just played out of their minds in both of these sets.
Playing the Soul, playing the Kerner Nose. I was really actually shocked that Baskin played the Soul to start things off, but you could tell that Luminosity are very comfortable with giving Baskin this Soul, trying to make sure that he's going to hit those in-hands because he's always been such a great mechanical player.
Baskin is one of those guys who made the transition to mid lane this year, and it took him a little bit to find his stride, but now, just like andinster, he's looking really comfortable on these gods, and he's expanding that god pool.
Especially with the game number 2, playing that Hades there, he just has no fear at all as to what god he plays, even bringing back some old school tactics of that Hades, building very defensively.
If you're looking at playing Luminosity, what do you target? How do you handle just that squad with so much talent?
I think the best way to target out Luminosity is just to go for the jungle control in that solo lane side. Make sure that Scary D and Mask gets contained. You're not going to be able to stop them completely, but at least maintain some of the destruction that they're going to bring to you.
Very well said. Let's take a look at the standings after all the action today and see where these teams find themselves.
Currently, Luminosity with 10 points, tied with Monkey Madness here. Team Allegiance did find that split, so they're sitting pretty at 8 points. They, too, could be that 3rd North American team to make it to Valencia.
You've got Team Allegiance, in Memory of Gabe, and now Noble kind of all fighting for that 3rd spot. It'll be interesting to see if Noble can ride this high, all of this momentum, and keep finding these 2-0s.
It's very important now with the SPL nearing a close. There's only 2 more weeks to go before Valencia.
All right, you asked Vetium who his pick for the number 3 was. Who do you think the number 3 is going to be?
So he said Eunited, and Eunited is a little bit more down the rankings compared to Team Allegiance. Normally, you would say like 1, 2, and 3 looks clear, right? Like with only 2 more weeks to play, it's very unlikely that Allegiance drops, but already they lost their last set or last week, and then they split this one. They need to figure out a way to just keep getting a split. If they lose another set 0-2, they're not going to make it, and then I would have to go with Eunited.
You do think it's going to be United?
If Allegiance, if they lose one more set, they're done.
Okay. Well, that's it for us for today. Don't forget we have the SCL tomorrow, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.